Alright, let's talk about something that keeps casual fans glued to their screens but drives hardcore fight nerds absolutely nuts: odds. Specifically, why do bookmakers keep setting lines that make zero sense when you actually break down the fighters? Take this UFC Fight Night card. On paper, it's a mix of hype trains and sleepers, but dig deeper and you'll find a web of contradictions that makes me question if oddsmakers are watching the same sport as the rest of us. Let's unpack this chaos. Take Mateusz Gamrot versus Quillan Salkilld. Gamrot's a top 10 lightweight, right? Yet the line's minus 150. That's barely a favorite. Why? Because Salkild's a 125-1 underdog on paper, but here's the kicker: Salkild's only lost to guys like Rafael dos Anjos and Bobby Green. Suddenly, that line feels like a joke. Bookmakers are pricing in Salkild's stepping stone reputation, not his actual skill. Personally, I think Gamrot's the safer bet, but if you're taking this fight seriously, you're missing the point. This is UFC's version of a trap fight where the favorite's complacency becomes their downfall. Now look at Diego Ferreira versus Billy Quarantillo. Ferreira's a minus 175 favorite, but here's the twist: he's been out for 18 months. Meanwhile, Quarantillo's on a 4-0 streak with finishes. What many people don't realize is that oddsmakers punish long layoffs like they're career-ending injuries. But Ferreira's style, pressure grappling, thrives on unpredictability. If he's rusty, sure, Quarantillo could capitalize. But this line feels like a reaction to narratives, not skill sets. From my perspective, Ferreira's the kind of guy who gets paid to make other fighters look bad. This isn't a fight, it's a chess match where the bookmakers already lost the first move. Let's talk Elkins versus Del Valle. Darren Elkins is a plus 550 underdog. That's not just disrespectful, it's offensive. Elkins has been UFC's Iron Man for a decade, surviving wars against the division's elite. Del Valle's got a 10-2 record, but he's fought exactly 0 ranked opponents. The odds here aren't just wrong, they're a symptom of a bigger problem: betting sites conflating regional hype with elite readiness. What this really suggests is that oddsmakers are terrified of Elkins' durability. A fighter who's never missed weight, never been stopped, and thrives on late-round comebacks. That's not a 5-1 underdog, that's a value bet screaming at you. But here's the deeper issue: these lines shape how casual fans perceive fights. When Amanda Lemos is a minus 250 favorite over Thainara, the narrative becomes Lemos will dominate. But Thainara's BJJ black belt pedigree and 3-inch reach advantage get erased by lazy math. This raises a bigger question: do odds actually reflect reality, or do they create their own self-fulfilling prophecies? I'd argue the latter. Watch how often heavily favored fighters choke in the octagon because they believed their own hype. That's the hidden cost of letting algorithms define your confidence. And then there's Billy Goff versus Ty Miller. Goff's a plus 310 underdog. The guy's 1-4 in the UFC, but here's the detail everyone overlooks: his losses are to top 15 fighters. Miller's a minus 400 chalk, but he's never faced anyone with Goff's power. This line assumes Goff's record tells the whole story. What it ignores is that Goff's fighting style, reckless aggression, creates chaos. In a sport where one punch can end everything, why is chaos so undervalued? Because betting lines aren't about skill, they're about risk aversion. And in combat sports, risk is the only constant. So here's my closing thought: next time you see a UFC fight card, don't just glance at the odds. Ask yourself, who benefits from this line? The bookmakers, sure. But more importantly, the fighters who thrive on being underestimated. Because in the octagon, math doesn't matter. Heart, grit, and the ability to exploit a narrative. That's what turns underdogs into legends. What do you think? Should we trust the odds, or trust our eyes? Drop your take in the comments, and let's dissect this further.